All right, you crazy kids, it's your boy and your host, boom, Zach Evanash. Welcome to the Strong Life Podcast. This is episode 323. I've got the notes right here. So if I'm looking down, I'm not reading from a script. I remember back in the day when Mark Smelly Bell had the Strong Cast, before it was the Power Project, everybody was like, you guys are reading from the script. And they just turned it into a great joke. You know, those guys are kind of funny. So if you're new here, welcome aboard. The Strong Life Podcast is where I discuss getting strong, not just in the gym, but taking those lessons and applying them to your life. And gym, weight room, garage gym, basement gym, backyard gym, ghetto gym, alley gym. I don't care what it is. You make it happen. By the way, when I say alley gym, there was a photo sent to me from my buddies, Guadango and Brooker. They haven't done their podcast for a bit, but Brooker's in Switzerland, trains a lot of rugby players. And during COVID, he showed me videos and photos of some of the European rugby players who were finding ways to train. And one guy ran a marathon in his house by just like circling through the bedrooms, going up and down the stairs in his backyard. They weren't allowed to leave their own property. He did a marathon in his own house. Another rugby team had their weights removed from the weight room. They were in an alleyway. I mean, you literally saw like the street, the sewer. They were on shitty, dumpy equipment. And I said to myself, we need more of that. We need more of that. As much as I love the equipment companies, right? Sorinex, Elite FTS, Rogue Fitness, Legend, all the companies that make beautiful squat racks and benches. It warms my heart to see something that is reminiscent of the Cuban weight room, which was like a pull-up bar, a crappy bench. It looked like it was from a prison of the 1950s. And we need more of that. So in this episode, I'm going to be covering the 10 commandments of building badass athletes, building beasts. There's a lot of coaches out there, but they're not doing the right stuff. Now, on the flip side, there's a lot of coaches doing great stuff. I'm learning from many of them. I engage with them on Twitter or through text messages and phone calls. I obviously interview them here on the podcast. And this episode is brought you by sspcoach.com, the Strength and Sports Performance Coach certification. Today is Wednesday. We're shutting down registration Sunday. So get in it, crew. And by the way, the business bonus for the SSP certification is the recording of the Garage Gym Godfathers seminar I did with my boy, Joey DeFranco, which was a full business seminar where he spoke for an hour, I spoke for an hour, then we did Q&A for about an hour. So I believe this seminar is like 2.5 to 3 hours long, sharing our stories, our mistakes, the ups, the downs, the strategies, and why we've been able to have full-time business success since we started. Joe started a little bit before me, but it's over 20 years. Most businesses don't last more than a few years, and they haven't gone through a hurricane, a recession. And when the hurricane hit, it's like I experienced another recession. Should be getting a recession now any minute. Not going to be fun, but going to be a challenge. So I think those of you that invest in yourselves, you're going to succeed. And let me say something about skin in the game. I was on my Instagram and man, I wish I could remember the account. I want to make sure I give credit. I love to give credit, unlike a lot of other coaches out there who invented everything. But let's take a look here. This was a law enforcement Instagram. And let's see if anybody popped up on it. Oh, sorry, guys. I think it was called Behind the Shield. And so they had video footage. Yeah, Behind the Shield. They had video footage of the shooting in Texas. And the big concern to me, let's see if this pops up. Yes, it was Behind the Shield. Was this guy is in law enforcement who runs the Instagram. And he said there was a shooting before the Uvalde incident. There was a shooting where he was in Florida. And after that shooting, Tim Kennedy, who runs a company called Sheepdog Response, he sponsored a sheepdog response 2-day seminar. So it's got to be shooting, it's got to be hand-to-hand combat, or CQB, close quarter battle, probably a lot of psychological stuff, how to calm down somebody, so you don't get into an altercation. And the guy said that it had a very poor showing from his department, his law enforcement department, and people who showed up on the first day bailed out on the second day. And I said, wow, it sounds very much like the world of strength and conditioning. We want to give everything away for free, and then nobody wants to have skin in the game. Why? Nobody respects free, and people who pay, pay attention. I'll say it again. People who pay, pay attention. Skin in the game happens when you pay for things through money. Right now, you're paying for this podcast with your time. So it's free for you. This is not free for me. I'm investing my time in you. I, of course, have to pay for the software, the equipment, for hosting, all that stuff. But nobody's fighting for this. You don't like this podcast? Go get 5 million other podcasts for free on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube. And that's the problem. Nobody's fighting and earning anything today. Everything is handed to them. Even in a school, if a student does 0, they will not fail. They'll get a B-. That's the world we're in today. Here's another thing and an announcement, because I would love to get an intern through my listeners. I have been opening the internship to the Underground Strength Gym for several months now. I finally got a kid to do it, and I'm paying him to do the internship. But guess what else? He's going to get so much of my time. He's going to go through the Underground Strength Coach cert, the SSPC cert. I mean, they should pay me, but they don't. It just doesn't work that way anymore. That's the way of the world. And I want some badass coaches. So if you're out there and you're in the Monmouth County area, Ocean County area, and you want to work at the Underground Strength Gym, send me an email. Show me what you got, kid. Okay. And by the way, I do have some tea. I was coaching all morning, sweating buckets, burning my face off. Who cares? Nobody cares about me. All right. 10 commandments of building badass athletes. This is going to be a good throat punch after I just gave a little rant. Strength first. Build athletes with strength first. That is their foundation. I'm going to loosely utilize the term coach. But if you're a coach and the first thing athletes are doing at your gym is jumping and running around hurdles and running through cones, you are not a coach. You are blindly copying and implementing fads and gimmicks. If kids are weak, they are not ready for change of direction and sprinting and jumping and landing properly. That being said, kids aren't out in the streets running anymore. So now we're teaching them how to dodge and chase and catch people and how to slow down and change directions. Kids should have learned it playing manhunt, playing bicycle tag, sprinting on your bike. You know how much upper back work you get when you're with your bike, pulling up your bike to jump over curbs? So strength is first. That's step one. Get the athlete strong. Number two, and this could kind of flip-flop with number one. Number two is build muscle. The majority of athletes that I come across at the high school level, middle school, they have no muscle on the frame. And simply by adding muscle through basic bodybuilding exercises, bodybuilding sets and reps, bodybuilding tempo, we will get them stronger. If you don't have muscle, you're not going to get strong. Nobody ever saw a lacrosse player or football player or track and field athlete or fill in the blank athlete and said, thank God Timmy is so weak. That's why he's out there killing it. Nobody says that. There's no such thing as weak and successful. No such thing as lazy and successful. So again, get strong first, put on size, utilize bodybuilding methods, dumbbell bench, dumbbell military press, chest supported row, dumbbell walking lunges, curls, triceps. Do work in the 15 to 20 range for 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, do work in the 10 to 15 range. Weeks 5 and 6, do stuff in the 8 to 12 rep range. So you're doing a linear periodization with these beginners. Step 3 of building the badass athletes. Now we start to say, okay, we've got a nice base of strength. We've built muscle. Timmy has got some shoulders. And by the way, I saw one of my athletes yesterday. He's entering 9th grade, so he's 14. He was walking out of the gym. He had his shirt off. I was like, dude, you look effing jacked. This kid was a stick figure. He would have gotten blown away in the wind when he started. He trains twice a week, maybe 3 days a week. But you know what he does? Squats, front squats, back squats, trap bar deadlift, sprinting, jumping, kettlebells, dumbbells, calisthenics. Plays street ball. We use street ball as part of our warm-up. He looks great. He had veins down his biceps. Shoulders were starting to look like they were little boulders coming up. Abs were tight. He looked like a Spartan. Build athleticism. Where do we build athleticism? We incorporate a athletic warm-up, which you will see inside the SSPC certification. If you've done the underground strength coach cert, it's in there as well. We also want to see athletes playing street ball, pickup sports, football, basketball, soccer, kill the man with the ball, AKA rugby. And we will utilize this as a warm-up before we train. So athletes might come in. If you go through the SSPC cert, you'll see we have like a part 1 prep on a whiteboard. They go through that. Then we send them out to the local park for like a quick 5 or 7 minute game of ultimate football, which is ultimate frisbee with a football. On their way there, they run. So they get like a 400-meter hard run. Other times we send them to the park in groups of 2 or 3 with kettlebells and medicine balls that they carry. So now they're doing general physical preparation. They're doing distance carries, which is time under tension, which is great for building size, great for building strength, endurance. We get to the park. Now we have a game. What happens when you're playing ultimate football? Sprinting, change of direction, deceleration for change of direction, jumping in the air, backpedaling, being able to react in the moment, which is athleticism. Okay. Agility is kind of like reacting to things, whereas change of direction might be, I give you a verbal command. It's like a closed loop. Agility is, I want the athletes to be agile, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, psychologically. So that was number 3, building athleticism at all times. We don't want strong, bulky, and useless. We want agile, mobile, and hostile. So once we built that base of strength, the warm-up starts to get more complex. You know, my warm-ups lately have incorporated, well, I used to do this a lot more, and I'm bringing it back after speaking with Dan Fichter on my last podcast, cartwheels, okay? Walking on the hands more, all kinds of different hangs, different jumps, making the prep phase more complex to build athleticism. Number 4, this is something not spoken about enough in the context of strength and conditioning or sports performance. Number 4 is build the mind. Athletes need grit, they need confidence, and dare I say, they need to be tough. Okay. They need an attitude of toughness. And I don't think you could have confidence if you're lazy. I don't think you could have confidence if deep down you know you're weak and you're struggling to do a full squat or a push-up, or you're struggling with weights that kids, 50 to 100 pounds lighter than you are dominating. And so how do I build the mind? Every training session must challenge the athlete. Now, I know some people will be like, every training session, what about a deload? What about a reload? You'll burn them out. Listen, in the 80s, we rode our bikes for 10 plus hours a day. We didn't get overtrained or burnt out. So let's raise the bar. Let's elevate the standard and stop making excuses for kids. We need them to be tough, which means sometimes when they're tired, we need to have a conversation with them and say, listen, you might be tired during a game, might be tired during your, third baseball game of the day and it's 90 something degrees. You need toughness. And so I need you to push yourself at the end of this training session, hit those sleds hard, throw the med ball hard when you're a little bit tired, because now they have that carryover to their competition. Okay. You need training to be tough. That's the truth. Number 5, be careful with overly complex training methods. Sometimes I see stuff on Twitter or YouTube and it's got 1 million views. Guess what? I can't do those things, not because my kids can't, but because I've got groups of 45 to 75, sometimes 90 athletes, and not everybody could do that one thing. So when you see a college coach doing some advanced stuff and he or she has like less than 5 of those athletes in a multi-million-dollar weight room, don't copy them. Okay. First of all, the Division I athlete is a genetic freak, even if they're not training and eating and doing the right stuff. So brilliance with the basics. And to quote my boy, Jim Kiertzy, from a podcast we did many moons ago, he said, we do simple things savagely well. Brilliance with the basics. So get great at back squat, front squat, lunges, step ups, pull-ups, push-ups, jumping rope, sprinting, change of direction, landing, being able to control the body and stop when you land. Agile, mobile, and hostile. Number 6, build the posterior chain. If you know nothing, work on the muscles that athletes can't see in the mirror. Let me take a sip of my tea for those listening. So pardon me when I pause for 10 seconds. Posterior chain. Work the upper back. We probably do 100 band pull aparts and or face pulls every training session. We do a lot of hanging abs. We do a lot of back extensions. We do a lot of lunges, which works the whole leg, especially glutes and hamstrings. We do leg curls using bands. We do standing leg curls with a machine at the gym. We do leg curls using those like glute ham rollers that you could also do hand walking on. Want to work that backside, a lot of different rowing to hit the mid back, shrugs to hit the upper back, pull-ups to hit the lats, and kettlebell swings, kettlebell cleans, exercises that go and pass through the legs, really forcing the hips and the posterior chain to work as a unit. Those posterior muscles are, prime movers for sprinting, jumping, and lifting. So if the beach muscles are big and the muscles you can't see in the mirror are not powerful looking, then that athlete is usually going to be all show and no go. So boost those posterior muscles. We throw these exercises into our prep portion of the training session. So inside the SSPC cert, you'll see us doing kettlebell swings, back extensions, exercises that hit those posterior muscles, Bulgarian split squats, which is quads, glutes, hamstrings. And we also want to get trunk stability. So we're going to do holding of positions, suitcase carries, kettlebell rack walks, dead bugs, different plank variations. All of them are crucial. So posterior chain is number 6. Number 7, unilateral work. The first athlete that really inspired me to start writing and speaking about being strong and useless came from a school that followed bigger, stronger, bigger, faster, stronger, which is a great program when implemented properly. I don't know all the details, but when I see people maxing out every week or every other week, I'm not a fan of that for high school athletes because technically and emotionally, most kids don't have the grit and the discipline to maintain technique when things get a little too heavy. So what we do is look at, I'm sweating here in the office. I got the lights, the camera, but no makeup here, no makeup. I found that what's better is to do technique maxes, sets of 3, sets of 5, depending on the exercise, but I'm not going to do a 1 rep max on the clean unless that athlete is very experienced in lifting and of course has technique proficiency. And I've seen that this athlete could do a power clean, a full clean, and has, been there, done that. So unilateral work is not just for lower body, it's also upper body. Mike Boyle is a big proponent of all kinds of single leg work. I don't think that you should get rid of squats. Although if I had to choose one, I would do a front squat. It builds a lot of trunk stability. It tends to promote a full range of motion a little bit more, but I also think athletes get bored and they crave variety. And you know what else? They need to be challenged. I think we've gotten too conservative as coaches. I certainly have found myself in those places where, oh my God, his back is not flat. Sometimes the back gets a little bit round. If it's every other training session for, months on end, that's a problem. But once in a blue moon, when they're going really, pushing it, a little technique falter naturally will happen. That will naturally happen in sport competition as well. So lunges, forward, reverse, lateral lunges, diagonal lunges, stand and twist lunges, step ups from different positions, not just stepping straight ahead, but stepping at an angle, upper body unilateral work, landmine presses, dumbbell bench with one arm, floor press with one arm, kettlebell clean and press. You've got to build these you've got to build the individual muscles and not just look at the barbell being the end all be all. And so that first kid that really got me into this anti-strong and useless was he had set the records in his high school for what they tested, which was squat, bench, and clean. And I think you had to like squat 405, bench 315, clean may have been 225 or 255, something like that. So he did all that, but he could barely do a bodyweight lunge. He could barely do 5 push-ups. He could not do 1 pull-up. And if you're a lineman, you should be able to do pull-ups because you guys love to bench. Well, if you want to bench and you're punching all the time, your lats and back must be strong to support the anterior, chain of the body. And he was struggling on things like strength endurance, which is required in a game. He would do farmer walks. And after the second set, the kettlebells would literally fly out of his hands. It's like somebody put like oil and Vaseline all over the kettlebells. I never saw anything like it. And so I remember him getting frustrated. And I said to him, look, man, every time you drop weights or you get tired or you can't do something, you're like, you curse and get all mad. I go, what are you doing on the 2 days that you're not here? He's like, well, nothing. I said, that's your problem. You need 5 days of activity, 2 days of rest, not 2 days of work, 5 days off. So what do I tell the athletes at my school, especially kids who are younger and don't have the training experience, is I say, every day normal activity should be 100 push-ups, 5 sets of 20, 10 sets of 10. Same thing with squats and lunges. If you're slow, then everyday sprint. And I know that the sports scientists are like, oh my God, everyday sprint. Yes. In the 80s, we sprinted for like 75 days in a row in the summer. Okay. We weren't worried about optimal. And that is a big problem in this kind of strength and conditioning world, is people have gotten smart, but not intelligent. They're book smart, but they don't understand what kids are missing. Okay. These are things I cover in depth in the SSPC cert, because you need to have common sense, which is not so common, but you need to understand what these athletes are missing and the amount of work that's actually going to be required of them. And I think we're dismissing powerful training methods, which back in the day was normal activity. On Twitter, I saw Andrew Huberman, who's got, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers, and Jeff Cavalier, who I know quite well, very smart guy. I believe Jeff was a physical therapist, worked with the Mets, but Jeff and him were talking and they were discussing how like jumping rope, and they were getting into it like it was some amazing thing. And people were like, oh yeah, jump rope. That's so amazing. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? When I was a phys ed teacher, guess who jumped rope? Everybody, 1st through 5th grade. Today, athletes come and they can't jump rope, high school kids. And when they can't jump rope in middle school, guess what some middle school kids do? They're a step away from crying in my gym. I repeat, they are about to cry because they can't jump rope. And I say, don't cry. Don't worry if you don't get a minute. I want you to just practice. You're going to move your hands as the rope comes over the head. You're going to jump with your feet together. Physical education is failing us. All right. And I'm saying that as a fellow phys ed teacher. We get away from all the challenges because kids complain, parents complain, and now we have weak, unprepared athletes who are consistently hurt and injured. Okay. Hurt means you got a bump or bruise, but you think the world is ending. Injured means this is pretty serious. I need to step away from athletics and possibility of surgery. I mean, how many middle school kids are going to physical therapy? It's out of control. Why? Go back to 10 commandment number 1, lack of strength. If you don't have strength, you don't have stability. You don't have the ability to control your body. Okay. Number 8, sprinting. I'm kind of harping on what I just said. At my high school, we've got like a small hill. It's not very steep, but we sprint every training session. And I like to see the athletes 3 days a week. We not only sprint, traditional, we sprint from imperfect positions. And we do a lot of this again in the SSPC cert. I'm not even shamelessly plugging the cert. I'm aggressively plugging the cert, sspcoach.com. And I got to say, it's $497 investment. If you're in the Underground Strength Academy, you have a $100 discount. And I say to myself, I'm an idiot. That's my life's work for $400. I'm doubling the price next time. And I don't care if nobody wants to buy it because I will not undersell. It's like the school shooting. There was a school shooting and the police in that town did not attend training because it was free. People who pay attention. Boom. I'm ripping out throats during this podcast. That's it, kids. So we would sprint from our belly, hands behind the back. We sprint chasing somebody who's a few feet in front of us. Sprint by sitting on your butt facing the opposite direction. Somebody says go, you've got to turn left or right. Athletes are bumping into each other. Some kids are pushing each other out of the way. That is what we want. At least that's what I want. Because in sport, you never really get to sprint without people pushing and shoving you, unless you're a track and field athlete, right? In football, people are hitting you. Lacrosse, you're getting hit. Wrestling, basketball, soccer. I told the girls' soccer team after I watched them play a game, it's like, 50% boxing, 25% rugby. The other 25% is soccer. I watch girls like kind of uppercutting each other, pushing, grabbing shirts. Goalie kicks a ball halfway across the field. Girls are running full speed at each other to head the ball. You're telling me a kid like that needs to jump around cones, or does that kid need to get strong? Okay. They're already running a lot. Build strength. Strength is like a suit of armor on the body. Number 9, we need jumps. We need great landings, like what Dan Fichter spoke about, altitude drops. So now what we've been doing is jumping on boxes, stepping down, holding the landing. It's called a cat landing. Jumping rope, which I mentioned, and also jumping for lower body is one thing, but we also want to jump for the upper body. So plyometric push-ups. And the other thing that would kind of be considered like a jump, not really jump, but it's like power, is medicine ball throwing because you're releasing it. So in an upper body jump, I'm releasing hands from the ground. Lower body jump, feet are obviously coming off the ground. And introductory jumping is like pogo jumps, power skips, jumping rope. These are all activities that build power, as does street ball, basketball, soccer, ultimate football. And then we want throwing of medicine balls. Okay. Yesterday, Joey Satmary was at my gym. We filmed for the YouTubes and we threw heavy med balls. Okay. 70 pounders, 50 pounders. And we threw lighter medicine balls, 8 pounder, 10 pounder, 6 pounder. So you don't want to always throw heavy or always throw light. You want a mix of them, but power development with jumps and landings and throwing of objects. Juan Carlos Santana, in an interview I did, which I think is inside undergroundstrengthcoach.com, spoke to me when he was doing early days martial arts. His instructor had him clean and throw a stone for a mile, not 5 sets of 3, 12 sets of 2, this percent. Sweating buckets in this freaking office. I got the lights on me. I don't care. I'm doing it for the YouTube, whatever it takes. The only way to win the game is to play the game. And then once you win that game, don't even get involved in the game. That's how you win the game. You don't even play this dumbass game. Last commandment of building badass athletes. Listen to me, people. Listen. I say 3 things that athletes need to do on the regular: carries, calisthenics, and sleds. If you email me and ask me what a substitute for sleds is, go F yourself. Make a sled. Put a sled in the trunk, put weights in the trunk, and do it. Make a sled from a tire. We posted videos on that and photos and articles since 2005 in the Underground Strength Academy. Now it's on YouTube for free, which is why nobody's going to do it, because you want convenience. You don't want to be uncomfortable. Comfort is the enemy. That's the problem. Carries, carry everything. Okay. Kegs, heavy medicine balls, sandbags, dumbbells, kettlebells, different positions, different weights in each hand. Go on my YouTube, go to undergroundstrengthcoach.com, purchase the Encyclopedia of Underground Strength. Good luck finding it. Calisthenics, pull-ups, push-ups. In calisthenics, I also feel sprinting is calisthenics. Look up what Herschel Walker did. Train like Herschel Walker. Sleds, heavy, light, medium, short distance, fast, slow, long distance, extended periods of time. Episode 323, the 10 commandments of building badass athletes. Do it, make it happen. If you don't want to make it happen, you don't want it. sspcoach.com. That's where I want everybody to go. Hook a brother up with a 5-star review. If you're here on YouTube and you watched it on the big screen, open up your phone, leave a comment, a good comment, not just one word. Don't be a lazy looker. Leave a good comment. Share it with friends. Okay. Spread the word of real training. What do I say? Do I have to do this shirtless for people to watch? That's what's pathetic about this industry is nobody's like, everybody has to do a video with their shirt off. I'm a dad. I work in a school. Why would I need to create videos with my shirt off? It's a strange world that I don't fit into anymore, but I'm committed to destroying YouTube. And by the way, Instagram won't let me post a video of an athlete doing a power clean. It keeps showing up as we are protecting, we have guidelines that we're protecting our community against. I think I took a screenshot of it. See if I could show it to the people. Try again later. We restrict certain activity to protect our community. There it is. So I apologize if power cleans are offending you, but I have known that hard work offends people. I've realized that. And if you want to succeed in this world, it takes hard mother effing work, period. End of story. sspcoach.com. I'm out of here, guys. Have an awesome day.